Well. Today's madness brought me to just do a newsy show today. This is going to be a very newsy show, all right? So I'm just going to go ahead and share the screen and we're going to just get into what happened because there was a plane crash and uh, there's bodies still floating from the plane crash. And yeah, President-elect Donald Trump decided to say, uh, I blame DEI. Yeah, that's what he said. He said he had found a way to blast DEI over the plane crash. Let me go to what I just watched. Okay. Was it a shorts? Oh, it's this one. Give me a minute. I'm gonna let her do it. I can't even do it. I don't think y'all understand. Like, I don't have the energy. I'm trying to have a very good night after I run back outside and take my shower. Okay? Because this right here. Alright, it's going to be a newsy show, y'all. Let's go.
Fuck you, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and JD Vance. You raggedy bitches are sitting up here exploiting a horrific tragedy, a plane crash, and using it as a launching pad to attack diversity. And there are still bodies floating in the Potomac River. You fucking degenerates. You have no humanity, no empathy, no decency, and no fucking shame. When you are in a position where you are supposed to display those qualities and leadership, you have nothing. You have nothing. You are a fucking emperor with no clothes. Nothing but bullshit, conspiracy theories, and racism to offer the country. And that really fucking sucks because you're in charge of the country. You fuckers are the ones that pushed out the FAA director. There's no acting head, or there was none when the crash happened. You got rid of the TSA head and other people. You put a fucking indiscriminate hiring freeze on the federal government. You're trying to push out the federal workers. And then you get your fucking stupid asses up there and talk about DEI. Go to hell, bitch. Why don't you just say what you really mean, which is say the N-word. Say that you only want white men in these positions, and then we can have that fucking conversation. I don't want to hear shit about the best and the brightest when you are the worst and the dumbest, and you're very fucking unserious. Let's talk about radar. Let's talk about flight paths. Let's talk about training. Let's talk about more staff, more support. Why don't we have that fucking conversation instead of some bullshit ass DEI bullhorn that you're trying to fucking send to change the goddamn topic?
Alright. Go ahead. We're going to just jump to the next one before we get
Joining me now is Congresswoman Sharice Davids of Kansas, where the flight originated. She's a member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the Aviation Subcommittee. Also joining me is retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel Amy McGrath, founder of the Democratic Majority Action PAC. Thank you both for us to be here. Representative Davis, I want to start with you and let you talk about your community and how they are handling this, and also how you feel about the President of the United States weighing in and giving his own diagnosis of this crash rather than waiting for the NTSB.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is that this is so heartbreaking, and as more details emerge, this is heartbreaking for. Kansas is a small state, and we all are going to feel the effects of this. Our hearts are breaking for the families, and also have so much appreciation and gratitude for the first responders. Right now, we're in a situation where we do not have the facts of what exactly happened here. And, the the Transportation Safety Board, the Pentagon, the FAA, all of these officials are working together to do what they're trained to do, which is to investigate the causes of this tragedy. And I believe that it is it's not only reckless but irresponsible for any federal official, whether it be the president, a secretary, or anyone else, a member of Congress, to try to comment on what may have been the cause until the NTSB concludes their investigation.
Yeah.
And it actually.
Hold on, y'all.
It's a
Let
matter
that play. I'll be in
of
a
respecting
minute.
the people who have been impacted directly by this. You know, the families deserve dignity and respect, and for there to be a thorough investigation.
But let me ask you this, because we do know some things. There are some facts on the ground. We know that there's normally 2 people in that control tower. You know, obviously there is a shortage of people in that control tower. But these are the things we know for a fact. On January 20th, Donald Trump's FAA director resigned under pressure from Elon Musk. We know that same day, this was on Inauguration Day, Donald Trump froze air traffic controller hiring, along with all federal hiring. The Aviation Safety Advisory Committee was disbanded on January 22nd. The buyout demand, which is not really a buyout, trying to get people to resign in exchange for some vague promises to existing employees, went out January 28th. And on January 29th, the very next day, we had this crash. And Donald Trump tried to blame President Biden, but here's the number of deadly airplane crashes that took place and fatalities under President Biden. The answer is none. There were none. He also tried to blame President Obama. There was one in February of 2009. So we know that 9-10 days into his administration, after he changed the nature of employment at the agencies that matter, this happened. As a member of Congress, do you feel that this is something that actually needs to be looked into a bit further?
I look at this stage right now, what I can tell you is that I want to make sure that as a member of Congress and someone who sits on the aviation subcommittee, who has, I've unfortunately had to perform oversight duties because of the tragedies that happened with the Boeing Max in my first 2 years of Congress.
Hold on, y'all. They boring the shit out of me. This is not what I wanted to show y'all. They boring the shit out of me. God damn. I mind. Okay, here we go. Roland Martin. This is him, but we're going to get into what Trump said in a minute. They usually will play it.
I think you're hitting on the core issue here, is that citizenship has always been narrowly construed to only include a certain group, and it's been very exclusionary. So if you go back to 1790 with the Naturalization Act, it was limited to free white males. Then you had, Dred Scott arguing that, a formerly enslaved person who's in the North, that he should be given citizenship rights. You had the Supreme Court responding in Dred Scott saying that Justice
it says that my screen share audio has been lost. All right, let me come back out, and then we're going to get to Trump. Trump looks sick. He looks fucking sick. Okay, maybe it was because I did that. Let me rewind it. Just look at him. Let's see what he said exactly. Hold on. This screen share sucks, bro. Damn, bro. Where the hell is the I can't find the goddamn shit. I'm all over the goddamn place. Hold on, y'all. My mind just started wobbling.
Immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher
Be daydreaming,
Rochelle,
bro.
a 22-year veteran of the agency, highly respected. Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence. And we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their
What the hell?
politics was even worse.
Wow.
So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost
Let me check my audio, y'all. It's cracking.
entering office, I signed something last week that was an executive order.
Hold on, my audio's cracking, y'all. All right. Do we need to keep watching this? I think it's gonna get worse if I keep watching this shit, bro. I got this feeling inside my gut that if I keep watching this shit, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. Okay. There is a book called The Dark Psychology of Donald Trump. There's a book called The Dark Psychology of Donald Trump. That's why I like what? What? Please don't ever recommend this channel. I feel it's time to just focus on understanding how dark psychology works. Okay? Right here on V314 Bad Bitch Craft Radio. Okay? It's time. We gotta dig. We gotta dig deeper. Hold on. Let me keep this. Okay, hold on. I found her. Here she is.
Looking to get stronger? Join Planet Fitness today.
It's probably the last video that y'all are gonna see from me today. Remember yesterday in that video I posted and I said I don't think I'm posting anymore? And I asked the question, can you PMS while going through menopause? Well, baby, I know my body. I knew my patience was short, and I knew that that feeling was familiar because, Aunt Flo, after being missing for about 6 months, Aunt Flo showed up yesterday, and she's wreaking havoc. I feel worn out. probably the last video you'll see from me today. But I wanted to come in and chime in on this very viral story. It's this plane crash that took place under Donald Trump's presidency. The update is Donald Trump is blaming D.E.I. He's blaming D.E.I. So what that means is that Donald Trump is blaming anybody who's not white and anybody who's not male that works for the FAA. Donald Trump is blaming D.E.I. Now, after the news broke on yesterday, this is what Donald Trump put out there on Truth Social. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane.
This man is out his mind, yo.
It is a clear.
This is some form of Alzheimer's. There's no way it's not.
The helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. This is what Donald Trump posted last night. And then today, Donald Trump is blaming D.E.I. And how long before Donald Trump blames the Biden administration? There is no, I'm going to wait for a full investigation. There is no calling a press conference with the results of that investigation and saying that we are going to work to prevent this from happening in the future. There is no condolences being offered to the family whose family members lost their lives in this crash. There is none of that. There is Donald Trump spreading suspicion. Then Donald Trump
Tell no one or 1 year.
spreading blame. Blaming D.E.I., which I've already broken down what that means. How long before he blames Joe Biden? Donald Trump is the president of the United States. This happened underneath his watch. And we've heard for years how the FAA is understaffed. And then what did Donald Trump do once he became president? Donald Trump and his administration are the reason why this crash happened. Because when he came into office, when he took over power, the first thing that they did was start to fire people. No questions, no meetings about what they need, nothing. They just immediately started taking a bulldozer to certain agencies to roll back
Fair
regulations.
use.
This is what
Check
Donald
out
Trump
Tabitha
did
Speaks
on
channel.
the second day of his presidency. He fired the head of the Transportation Security Administration. The entire Aviation Security Advisory Committee. He froze hiring of all air traffic controllers. Remember, they were already understaffed. He fired 100 top FAA security officers. This is what Donald Trump did on the second day of his presidency. He made an already weak agency weaker. Donald Trump and what him and his administration are doing are putting American lives at risk. The last I heard, 60 people died as a result of this crash. And these are the things that Donald Trump did to weaken this agency. Donald Trump and his administration did this. To all of y'all that are looking to travel, that are looking to live your best lives, you might want to ask some questions before you board a plane.
Damn.
You might want to ask some questions. You might want to ask questions as if your life depends on it, because it does.
Damn, bro. All my fears. All my fears, bro. Didn't I tell you I was scared of a travel ban?
Hardee's original bag packs 2 full-size favorites plus fries and a drink for just $5.99. No junior burgers or tiny nuggies, just full-size goodness for big-time value. The $5.99 original bag, only at Hardee's.
Get ready to go in the new Hyundai from Lee Hyundai in Fayetteville. Drive a new Tucson for just $2.
Now we've got the U.S. Senator from the state of Georgia, Reverend Raphael Warnock. Thank you so much.
Bro. I cannot. Hold on. Is this Exotical United? Today off the hook. Jealous woman use what? Hold on. Black Americans boycott companies cutting D.E.I. Black dollars matter. Okay, I see that bum. I can't watch that. Okay, so is she speaking again what he did now?
So the twice impeached insurrectionist, unindicted co-conspirator number 1 in D.E.and I, President Donald Trump, announced his campaign for presidency in 2024, which means it is all-out war in the Republican Party.
Hey, this is old. Broke the government and then changed his mind. Okay, there's a book called The Dark Psychology of Trump. Okay, give me a minute to go through my playlist and find it. I could screen share, it's nothing. My playlist is my playlist, so. We're going to go through the Dark Psychology audiobooks. Make sure you guys can still hear me. It's going to play, but we're not going to watch it. Just hold on. I'm just making sure my audio is still here. This is the one we had started today a little bit. But there's one here. About the dark psychology. I should have just typed it in, right? There's one that says like the dark psychology of Donald Trump. That dark feminine energy they had to do. Okay. Hour and 17 minutes.
I have to do a lot of reading for my job. You know, emails, contracts, PDFs. To stay focused, I use a free Google Chrome extension called Speechify. It's like the voice of the...
Welcome back to Audiobook Vision. If you love exploring the depths of psychology and uncovering the secrets of the mind, you're in the right place.
Gotta be
Don't
watching
forget
this
to
kind of
subscribe,
shit. This was 2 months
like,
ago.
and share to support the channel.
2 months ago.
Let's dive in. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening journey. The Trump phenomenon, psychological tactics, and the rise to power in modern America isn't merely the story of a man. It's a look into the heart of a divided, complex nation. How did Donald J. Trump, a billionaire real estate mogul and television icon with no political experience, tap so profoundly into America's hopes, fears, and frustrations that he forever reshaped its political landscape? How did he, seemingly against all odds, build a movement that captured the loyalty of millions? This book digs deeper than headlines or campaign slogans to reveal the psychological strategies behind Trump's meteoric rise. It explores how he commanded media attention, wielded polarizing language, and tapped into the desires of his audience with unfiltered rhetoric that promised change. Trump didn't just use the traditional tools of politics. He created an entirely new playbook, drawing on the raw power of human psychology to connect with, and sometimes divide, the nation. As you turn each page, what does it mean to harness the power of persuasion? How can leaders inspire, divide, and even transform society? Here, you'll gain insight into the powerful psychology that fuels modern leadership, how emotions shape movements, how leaders speak directly to our core fears and dreams, and how political influence can reach far beyond policies and speeches. The Trump phenomenon invites you to look beyond politics, exploring the deep, often controversial tactics Trump used to ignite a fervent following. From his media magnetism to his unique brand, Trump's rise wasn't an accident. It was a carefully crafted appeal to a nation in flux. At a time of economic struggles, social tensions, and political disillusionment, he didn't just resonate with Americans. He echoed their voices, giving voice to those who felt unseen. Prepare to delve into the psychological arsenal behind this unprecedented movement. Through this book, you'll explore the complex blend of psychology, media strategy, and socio-political insight that created one of the most polarizing figures in modern American history. This is an invitation to understand not just Trump, but the power of influence that shapes our world today. Chapter 1: The Foundations of Influence. Trump's early years and psychological insight. Donald Trump's ascent to political power didn't happen by chance. Instead, it was the culmination of years of psychological conditioning and experiential learning, stretching back to his formative years under the influence of his father, Fred Trump, and the bustling, high-stakes world of New York real estate. To understand Trump's unique brand of influence, we must first examine the early years that shaped his approach to life, business, and eventually politics. Fred Trump, a self-made real estate mogul, was Donald's first and most influential teacher. From an early age, Fred ingrained in Donald the belief that life is a battleground where only the strong survive. Strength, confidence, and relentless ambition weren't just encouraged, they were demanded. Fred instilled in his son the idea that to succeed, one must not only project an image of authority, but also ensure that image aligns with reality. There could be no room for vulnerability or self-doubt. As Donald grew, these lessons would form the cornerstone of his worldview, driving him toward a public persona that emphasized control, charisma, and command. The military academy years, learning discipline and dominance. When he was a teenager, Donald Trump's parents decided he needed more discipline, leading them to enroll him at the New York Military Academy. This environment was far removed from the comforts of home and placed intense demands on its students, requiring self-control, obedience, and, above all, the ability to establish and maintain dominance. At the academy, young Donald learned to channel his natural assertiveness into a tool for leadership. He realized that a strong leader doesn't merely command, They inspire confidence and command respect. His time at the academy reinforced his competitive nature and desire to win. The structured environment emphasized discipline and resilience, qualities he would carry into his future endeavors. The academy also fed his desire to stand out, encouraging a bold approach to life. Here, Donald learned to establish himself as an alpha presence, a valuable lesson in a setting where social hierarchy and influence mattered as much as academic achievement. The real estate realm, shaping an image and building influence. After his military academy years, Donald entered the world of New York real estate under Fred Trump's guidance. The New York real estate scene of the 1970s and 1980s was as ruthless as it was prestigious, and for Donald, this environment was an ideal training ground. He quickly understood that to succeed in this arena, image was everything. The public needed to see him not only as a successful developer, but as a bold, daring figure willing to take risks that others would shy away from. Fred taught Donald that negotiation wasn't merely about numbers, but about reading people, asserting power, and projecting an unshakable sense of confidence.
I took two things that I love, dancing and dogs, and I made them into a successful business. Hi, I'm Ronnie. I'm the owner of Kitatog, and I teach people.
From him, Donald learned to use the media as a tool for promoting his projects and, importantly, his name. Donald recognized that cultivating a memorable public image was critical, not just in real estate, but in any field he wished to dominate. With each building project, press release, and high-profile event, Donald refined his skills in self-promotion. He mastered the art of persuasion, shaping perceptions to align with his goals. In this realm, he realized that power wasn't merely held by those who possessed wealth, but by those who could convince others of their value and vision, crafting a persona of wealth and success. As Donald Trump continued...
Let me tell y'all something. There's nothing in the comment section, right? I came down here thinking that bitch was going to be flooded. I had a time that I looked at books like this and I really thought they were a waste, right? But I'm getting to a point, these books are not a waste. Okay? We want to get into this. We need to get into the dark psychology of Trump, so we can get into the dark psychology of J.D. Vance, so we can get into the dark psychology of Project 2025.
Continued to navigate his real estate career. He encountered financial ups and downs. Yet, he had learned the art of projecting an image of success.
All right, I'm still dressed because I want to go to the store. What time you leaving? So I have to get up early. We leave at 8. I was gonna try to get a money order and stuff and go send it up there. Huh? He ain't gonna be up there. No, he ain't gonna do. They don't open till 8 o'clock. But you leaving. So I'm gonna have to ask Rita to do it. Say what? Yeah, I'm gonna call him in the morning. I have to talk to him. I just saw a damn letter I got while I was sick, so it's time for me to recertify and shit. So I gotta talk to him anyway. Right, so just like hit me up when you like at the like. Now I feel bad. Just hit me on. I just asked Rita. I asked Rita tomorrow. It's fine. I asked Rita. Yeah, cause I gotta recertify. I gotta put some rent in. Remember, it's the end of the month, so that's this month, and then the 5th is hitting around. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give him something. I don't know. This is the New Year's resolution. Don't worry about it. Yes, don't worry about it. Yes, you know what, right? Listen, it's more important. Well, so what? That's fine. Just don't leave the light. It's alright. Don't leave the light.
Years provides a lens through which we can explore his strategies, motives, and the psychological factors that would propel him to become one of the most influential figures in modern history. Chapter 2: America in Crisis, the fertile ground for radical change. As Donald Trump prepared to enter the political arena, the United States was a nation in turmoil. The American people were grappling with a sense of disillusionment that had been building for decades, but was compounded by recent crises. I'm going to go back to audiobook Sundays. The thing about audiobook Sundays is I'm actually going to sit down and listen and write things down. I didn't have any plan to play this whole thing, but I'm just all getting a clip of it. The Great Recession of 2008 had left deep scars on the economy, fracturing the financial security of millions and shaking their confidence in government and traditional institutions. Issues like economic inequality, job insecurity, and mistrust of the political elite had boiled over into frustration, creating fertile ground for a non-traditional leader who could channel this discontent into action. In the years leading up to Trump's presidential bid, it was clear that a large portion of Americans felt marginalized. For many, the American dream had become a distant hope rather than a promise of prosperity. Despite years of political promises, wages remained stagnant, good jobs were elusive, and economic mobility seemed out of reach. Rising inequality deepened the chasm between everyday Americans and the country's wealthiest elite, fueling a feeling of betrayal. Trump entered the scene with a message of defiance against the establishment, positioning himself as the outsider who would take on Washington's elite. Unlike polished politicians, he presented himself as an unfiltered, unapologetic businessman who wasn't afraid to criticize a system he argued had failed its people. His bold rhetoric tapped into a well of frustration, awakening a desire for a figure who would stand up to those perceived as the enemies of the common American. Economic desperation and political alienation.
If a man really hated ads, here's what he would do. Day one, he would install Pi on his computer without spending a dime because it's 100% free. Day two, he realizes how clean and clutter-free his browsing experience has been since he got Pi. He doesn't have to deal with annoying cookie pop-ups or targeted ads. Day three, he can finally binge YouTube and Twitch without interruption because Pi works on every website you visit on Chrome. Day four, he discovers that when he does see ads, he can...
The 2008 financial crisis was...
Okay, so now what this book is doing is it's walking us into Donald Trump, not just him, but what was going on economically in the world and how this man was able to do what he did. Again, years ago, I would think books like this is useless. I would think books like this were just useless to read, and I'm learning that these are the kind of books. It's purposely that way. So you'll be like, Donald Trump, I'm not fucking trying to get into the psychology of that goddamn kook. But you need to get into the psychology of somebody like this. He easily lied into the face of the people. He's insulting people to their face. He did his first term, and he won everybody good with his first term. He lost. In his second term, he's showing his ass. And then he's trying to flip the amendment to make himself the ultimate president, meaning that this is the last election. And if Donald Trump can make that happen, That's some powerful shit. I don't give a fuck about the world being staged right now. Psychologically, right here on this show, we need to dissect what the fuck go on.
Was a watershed moment that underscored deep flaws in America's economic system. Millions of Americans lost their jobs, homes, and savings, and the subsequent recovery felt uneven. While Wall Street rebounded, Main Street struggled, with entire communities left in economic ruin. Traditional politicians appeared powerless to reverse the trend, and many Americans felt that Washington's focus on corporate bailouts had neglected the needs of everyday citizens. This economic frustration grew into political alienation. Americans on both sides of the political spectrum began to feel that the government no longer represented them. Terms like establishment and elite took on new meaning as symbols of a distant, uncaring bureaucracy. In Trump, many saw a figure who could shake up this status quo. His promise to drain the swamp resonated as he cast himself as a warrior against the entrenched interests of the political class. Cultural and demographic shifts, a nation in flux. Amid this economic tension, America was also undergoing rapid cultural and demographic changes. Immigration had significantly altered the face of the nation, with new cultural influences challenging traditional American norms. For many, this shift led to a sense of displacement, as familiar landscapes and values seemed to give way to a more multicultural, diverse.
That was quick. What's up?
This demographic shift sparked feelings of alienation among some Americans.
You coming down a hill? God damn. Okay.
Advocating for policies that promised to restore American values.
Yeah, I'm coming out.
Change that left some Americans feeling
All right.
uncertain and uncomfortable. He offered reassurance to those who believed their culture and identity were under siege, positioning himself as the defender of their way of life. His stance on immigration became one of the cornerstones of his platform.
All right. We will come back to this. Okay? We will come back to this. I gotta go. All right?